All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of DayBreak Live. My name's Krissi. I'm with Positively Osceola, and Positively Osceola just wants to bring you news that informs, impacts, and inspires. Now, today's episode of DayBreak Live, we get to chat with Charlie Draper of Draper Law Office, who has been working with our community and with personal injury and family law for years and years. Back in the 80s, they got started and they are helping the community more than ever. So today we actually get to talk about bus safety. So let's jump right in. Let's make it official and we'll play the video. All right, here we go. All right, that means we are officially into this episode of DayBreak Live. Once again, welcome. I'm Krissi with Positively Osceola. Today's episode, we have special guest Charlie Draper of Draper Law Office, and he's going to be talking a lot about safety. And as this year, the school season is just about to begin, if not for a lot of people already have begun. So what we're going to be chatting about today is safety in general, not only bus safety, crosswalk safety, bicyclists, pedestrians, everything, crosswalks. Safety is important. So what we want to do is educate you. We want to educate you about what's going on and how we can help and how we can stay safe. So how about we bring on Charlie as we speak? Hello, Charlie. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, me
It's
too. I think it's more relevant than ever.
Absolutely, me too. I can't believe that 2 weeks from today, at least schools in Osceola County begin. So it's kind of exciting, but it's also a little frightening at the same time.
Agreed. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we should know that we don't, and that you've been dealing with for years. So give us all of the details. And for those of our viewers who don't know about you and Draper Law Office, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Uh, I moved down from New York in 1984. I practiced law in New York for 10 years before moving down here. My wife graduated from law school in 1985, and so she joined me for probably 7 years. And then she had a higher calling. She became a judge, and she was a judge for like 27 years. At Draper Law Office, we've been primarily focused on personal injury and wrongful death, as well as family law matters, all forms, divorce, child support, visitation, you name it, we've handled it. So as I said, we moved into the community in 1984 and have seen it grow. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
Yeah.
as we talked earlier before we went live, school is hard to believe. School actually starts 2 weeks from today in Osceola County. I remember as a young kid, that is back in the 80s and the 50s, riding my bike to school and not a care in the world. I was close enough. I didn't have to go by a school bus, but today it's different, and particularly in Osceola County, it's very disparate. We have our population has exploded, as well as other counties, but insofar as schools, we just have to be more mindful that in 2 weeks the school buses are going to be on the road. The young students are going to be boarding those buses. There's going to be bicyclists, pedestrians, skateboarders.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. And I I have found uh, that as a society, we don't we're not good at budgeting our time management. You know, in the summer months where there's no school buses on the road, uh, clogging up the traffic, you know, we count on 25 minutes from home to work.
Right.
And when school starts, we still count on that 25 minutes. But lo and behold, we have school buses on the road, crossing guards that slow traffic. And
Yes.
so we don't budget that additional time. And so consequently, you've got people who are speeding because they don't want to be late for work. You've got distracted drivers. We have those year round,
Right.
right? And so it's the safety of our children, as well as the crossing guards who are really at risk. And so once when you see that the red lights of tail lights of a school bus or the blink flashing lights in the front of the school bus, and you see that arm, that stop arm, by all means stop, because I mean someone could get seriously hurt, and it could be someone, their child, uh, and so I guess my message is give yourself more time and be aware that traffic in the school year is totally different than traffic during the summer. And so you've got, and we've done pieces on this before, not necessarily focused on school and returning to school, but we have on traffic speeds in our community.
Yep.
And for the longest time, and I think Central Florida is still up there as one of the leaders in the nation of pedestrian injuries and fatalities, and it's a shame. I go back to not paying attention and speeding. It's speed and driver distraction are probably responsible for at least 90% of the injuries and deaths. So you have to. In my younger days, I used to ride a motorcycle, and so as a motorcyclist, you have to anticipate the worst. You
Yes.
have to anticipate that someone's going to pull out from that driveway, that stop sign, that gas station in front of you. You've got to be prepared to, you have to have a plan B, and sometimes a plan C. So it's very, very important that we as parents entrust our children to the schools to be educated and taken care of. And so we want them to arrive safely and come home safely. And so, uh, and it's not just the students, it's the crossing guards. And, I'm not sure uh, in your county, Krissi, but I know Osceola County, and we've struggled with this for a number of years, and that is bus driver shortages.
Yes.
Okay, and so that has a trickle down effect. Okay, so what I've seen, and I'm not part of the administration, but what I've seen is in order to adapt to that bus driver shortage, the bus drivers have to leave earlier,
Right.
probably work later, and make more stops. So it's not just, from say 7:30 to 8:30. They're up on the road probably like at 6
Yes.
because there's less of them. And so, and particularly once we get into daylight savings time, um, when it's dark and the kids are standing at the bus stop at 6 in the morning, look, we know kids are kids, can
Right.
be kids. I mean, they're very unpredictable, but you have got to anticipate that unpredictability, okay? That we all know because, as parents, we've seen it. And so you've got to anticipate and have a plan. And, sadly, uh, we've been involved in representing families who have been the victims of car accidents by people who just ignore the stop arm of the bus. I mean, they're just in such a hurry, and you know, you don't want to be you don't want to be the person responsible for causing that because that's you live with that, forever. So I guess my message is to be aware that in 2 weeks we're going to have school buses on the road, which means young children at bus stops. We'll be crossing guards. There's going to be so many more characters to take into consideration than we do during our summer months. And so you've got to be aware of that. You've got to budget more time for travel. If it requires leaving your house 10 minutes earlier, just so you can be to work on time.
Right. What a concept. And also, you brought up a good point about being aware. Something that I didn't even think about until you said it was pedestrians are oftentimes unaware because they're on their phones or they
Exactly.
have headphones on. They can't hear what's going on around them. So it's not even the drivers being distracted. Sometimes it's the pedestrians or the students or people on their phones just walking next to the road. So not only being on time or giving yourself extra time so you're not constantly speeding through the county, like that is a huge piece of advice that I don't think people realize.
Yeah, and we see it all the time, and these smartphones have gotten smarter, and kids are, they're in their own world.
Yep.
And that's not to knock them. It's just that they're so in tune with their moment that they're unaware of the risks and dangers out there that are lurking. So that's a good point. I think that, as I mentioned earlier, as a motorcyclist, you have to look at this 360 and have a game plan B and C and anticipate the worst. Anticipate someone, whether it be a pedestrian or another vehicle, is going to intrude upon your space.
Yeah. Just think it's going to happen.
Yeah, assume it's going to happen, and then how are you going to react? Do you have time to change lanes? Do you have time to slam on your brakes? These are all considerations that they're really common sense considerations.
Sure.
But as I said, I think in during the school year it's more crucial than I mean these are things that should be year round. I agree, but
Right.
particularly during the school year because there's so many other people who are involved.
Yep.
I love the school year. I love being involved with Dr. Pace's team and recognizing teachers and paraprofessionals, and it's just a wonderful organization, and we count on them to protect and educate our children. And so we want to make sure they get to school safely and get home safely.
Yes.
So, So
Yes,
that's,
and we can all do our little parts to not only educate our children, educate the bus drivers, educate the drivers, the motorcyclists, but it's always good to just re-put it out there. Make sure everyone is aware. School's starting. Let's keep our eyes open. Let's be aware of the time. We don't have to be racing across the road all the time. So this is huge. Thank you for reminding us.
yes, well, I thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your program. So I think it's timely, and so that's what I think is important. There's many topics that are important, but this, I think, because of the timing, 2 weeks away, it doesn't hurt to remind people.
Exactly. Exactly. So, okay, just for playing the devil's advocate here, what if something does happen? What if someone in our family is the victim of being struck by a car while they're crossing the street, or a bus issue, any of that? What do we do?
Oh, depending upon the age of the child. The first thing, I'm assuming if you're a bystander and you see this happen, first call 911.
Right.
Second, make sure that you attend to the child or individual who's injured, making sure that they're comfortable and making sure that they're safe where they are until the police and ambulance arrive.
Okay.
If you can, take pictures. If you can, see if there's any witnesses. Usually the police will come to the scene and they'll take statements from people who have seen it. They may look for businesses nearby to see if there's any surveillance cameras. By all means, make sure that the individual who was struck gets medical attention. That's the most important. Okay. And then, if you have any questions, if you or the parent has any questions and want to learn more about your rights and who's going to pay the medical bills and who's going to be responsible, then you can contact the Draper Law Office.
Yeah, and y'all have been serving the community since the early 80s, and being able to know that we have such a reliable resource with you and your team, this is fantastic. So thank you for bringing this to our awareness, and thank you for reminding all of us that school is starting and it's right around the corner, and this is very, very helpful. So thank you for all that information, Charlie.
Thank you for having me, Krissi.
Absolutely. So any final thoughts for our guests? Anything that you would like them to know before we say goodbye for today?
No, just be aware of the other drivers on the road. Uh, our community, as I mentioned, is just exploding in growth, and unfortunately, we're driving on roads that were designed to handle traffic 15 and 20 years ago. So there's more cars and less roadway. And so just be mindful of other drivers. Put down your cell phones and your gaming devices, and just pay attention. That's the best advice I can give you.
I think that's very helpful and very real and genuine. And it's just facts. It's the truth. Pay attention.
Right.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to have you and hear your point of view and your knowledge and your wisdom all these years. So thank you for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments or feedback, you can always drop in the comments below, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever platform. You can definitely check out draperlawoffice.com. They're also on Facebook. So make sure you're following them and getting all of their updates, and keep in the know if you have questions about personal injury or anything like that, because this man, there we go. This man right here knows his stuff, and so does his team. So thank you again, Charlie.
Thank you, Krissi.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye now.